Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey, this is Alex, and this is the Ramble. We go until midnight tonight from the East Coast of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, out to Las Vegas we go, and the lovely and attractive, there he is, Stephen Pearl.
Hello, my fans and friends. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Those threatening letters coming in. We love them all. Jeannie and I read them every night. We've embroidered your names on our pillows so we can sleep with you all every night.
That's very.
Everybody loves somebody.
How you doing?
Good. Just sitting here doing nothing.
You know something? It's funny because I call you, like you guys, up to go, oh, what's new in your life? There's nothing new in our lives.
I'm 65. What's the I'm alive. That's what's new in my life.
Hey, by the way, you're 65, so did you get your shot yet?
What's that?
Did you get your shot yet?
Nah, not yet. It'll come to me.
What do you mean?
When the Lord wants me to get my shot, I will get my shot.
Well, you're 65. Get the goddamn shot.
I'll get the shot. Well, bang.
You know what? Shot. You know what? I still have my second shot to do, which is coming late. Which is coming later than it should have, but it's coming anyway. But as soon as I get that second shot, I'm going to feel a certain liberation. Not that I'm going to get
reckless. You got to do this. You got to do that.
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to get reckless. But on the other hand, I'm not going to be as fearful of going outside, coming in contact with people, things like that. You know.
Yeah.
So
they're going to put a chip in you, and they're going to know where you are at all times.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And if they put a chip in me, you know what they're going to see? A guy laying on his bed scratching his ass. So put the chip in me. What do I get?
Yeah. So anyway, get away from that window. Turn your camera away from the window, because what it does is it then brings the stuff down. See, he's having to hold his phone because what? Oh, there's the kitty. Which one is that? That's Woody Muddy Waters. Yeah.
He's keeping me company.
I'm getting to know your cats.
See, sad, isn't it?
That's how pathetic my life has become. I've gotten to know his cats.
That's horrible.
Yeah. So, but usually I would call and say, what are you doing? And then you would say, I did a gig here and I did a gig there and I did this and I did that. And even I would have more to talk about. I'd say, hey, I went down to Italy and bought some ravioli today. But there's none of that. It's just this dull. We are living Groundhog Day.
Exactly. Same thing. I did do a set Saturday night. It was fun, but then ever since then, I've been home. I've been home.
What'd you do Saturday night?
I went to a place called, was it Jokes? No, Delirious Club. Run by my good friend Don Barnhart. Mm-hmm. Very good guy and a great comedian. Mm-hmm. And I just went there to hang out. I said, you want to go on the third show? I said, yeah, sure. So I did a guest set. I haven't been on stage in a month. And I totally kicked ass. I turned on the old Nixon charm, and they bought it.
But how did that feel? Great. Here
great.
you are. You're as a comedian, you're used to doing 3 nights a week, right?
In the old days, yeah.
Not anymore. Now, when was the last time before last Saturday that you did comedy on stage?
New Year's Eve, I believe.
Okay, so that's a long time for a comedian.
Sure.
All right.
Yep.
How did it feel? Were you rusty?
I thought I would be, but no, I did mostly new stuff. It all worked. I was getting applause breaks. It was just like, it couldn't have been better.
Really?
I could have easily fallen on my face and gone, hamina, but it worked. What did I tell you? All the pieces fit.
Because you
all
get
the planets lined up.
You get the feeling that after that amount of time, your timing would be off. Things. I talk to other comedians, and they say, no, it's not. Yeah. I had to, it was rather strange. I had to stretch. I had to remember my material, which and I'm talking, I think somebody who mentioned that to me was Bubbles, who God knows he remembers his act. His act is almost written in stone, and yet he said he went out there and he was forgetting what his set list, as it were, and it was not the easiest thing in the world. So
yeah, I was a bit rusty the first few times I got on after March, which was like 7 months later. And I was a little busy. A lot of my friends were going up, but they were forgetting stuff. Like, oh, good, I'm not the only one forgetting stuff.
I would love to.
You go on a couple of times, and it comes back.
I would love to have been at one of those shows, because I would love to just see, a comedian when all of a sudden he's rusty.
Oh yeah, you have the mic upside down. Hello, is this off? Is this on?
I say this to the audience out there. You don't understand this about comedy. It's not that they just get up and tell a bunch of jokes, and how easy is that? It's taken years and years to hone that act and to get your timing down. And to even explain timing is a science in and of itself, okay?
Yep.
And so you spend your whole life honing this thing, and the only way, it's almost like an athlete, the only way you're going to keep on your game is by constantly doing it. And so when you don't have your gym, okay, and you don't have a place to work out in, your muscles atrophy. Your comedy muscles atrophy.
Right, exactly. They get weak.
Yeah.
You're a quivering hunk of a shell of a person.
Yeah. So when you went to this comedy show the other night, were there other comedians there? Were they having problems?
No, everybody killed. It was a good night because they had been on stage since March a few times, so everybody did well.
Now, what did they do about the audience?
I killed him dead.
What did they do? What did they do about the audience? Did they have them 6 feet apart from each other? Or?
Yeah, they had them 6 feet apart. There was about 50 people there. They all had masks on. They were there to laugh, and they was laughing. It was laughing big time.
Well, that's although it's indoors, that's a pretty safe environment you had there. Okay.
Well, I haven't been sick since I've been performing since this virus thing started. So
yeah. Well, don't take risks.
Oh no! My mask is on. When we're on stage, we don't wear the mask with a mic rubber on.
I haven't been out. I don't think I've been out in about a week and a half or something like that. Yeah, I haven't left the house. Well, I mean, I'm waiting for that second shot. I know with the first shot I've got a certain amount of protection, but I just, my feeling is, God forbid I should come down with COVID, wind up on a ventilator, and I was almost at the finish line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for anybody right now who's dying, because it could have been prevented, if they just watched themselves.
Yeah.
You know what they found out today? This is an interesting statistic. Came over on my watch, because my watch has, has news coverage and so on. And it said that they found that if you double mask, wear your mask tightly, and double mask, the chance you lower the percentage of protection you get is 96.7%.
Well, if you put on 124 masks,
but all I'm saying is double masking is going to be better, almost, than getting the shot, right?
I can barely breathe with one mask on. I'm inhaling my own snot and stuff.
Yeah. Nasty. What's the sound of one mask on?
Yeah.
Now, as a comedian on stage, they didn't make you wear a mask, right? No.
Not on stage, but when you're there, you're hanging out, you got to wear a mask.
Right. And then you go on stage, you take it off.
You go on stage, you rip the mask off, and you're going free.
Well, it's like can I say fucking without a condom?
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Or I remember when I was a kid, they used to let us go naked swimming in the camp pool. Okay, and to just be in the water with your balls floating free. When you take your mask off, it's that feeling again.
No, I know. We had the mask on, so it was a fun and needed evening. I'm going out again tonight.
Hey, listen, we don't want to wear who likes wearing the mask? Nobody likes wearing the mask.
Nobody, but you got to do it.
Yeah, you got to do it. So you do it, And if we do it long enough, eventually we'll start getting some kind of herd immunity, and life is going to be much better for all of us. So
I hope so. I certainly hope so. I want this thing to end for everybody.
So you've been watching any of the impeachment hearings at all?
No. Oh no! You talking about something? No, I haven't. I hear about it on the news.
Well, just before I came in here, they started with the impeachment hearing, the actual indictment against him, and here's why he was guilty and so on. And they go, okay, we're going to make our case now. The Democrats are going to make their case. Okay, the Congress is going to make their case. And they said, this will take 16 hours. And immediately I went, I can't go 16 hours of this. I had, how often do I have to relive this horrible thing that went on in this country? I mean, it's hard to watch.
When you impeach a guy and you win, that means he's not in office anymore.
Well,
he's already not in office.
No, you impeach him, but that's only an indictment. That's like a grand jury indictment. Then you send it over to the Senate, and they hold the trial there.
Yeah.
But geez, we got to relive every moment of not forget the day at the Capitol. I think we should all have to relive that, because that should be an object lesson to all of us.
That's going in the history books from little kiddies.
In fact, I was watching a documentary, about 6 documentaries, each on a different member of the Nazi regime during World War II and their history and what they did and so on. Eichmann, Goering, Speer, actually is how it's pronounced. Speer. Who was another one? What's his name? The PR guy. My mind's a blank right now. I'll come up with it. Anyway, I'm watching all of these things, and I'm watching
Hess, Rudolph Hess, the spread.
Well, Hess they didn't do. They didn't do Hess.
They captured him, but he wandered in England.
Yeah, he wound up being incarcerated for like 20 years or something like that. Yeah. Goebbels. So I'm watching the one on Goebbels, right? And specifically because Goebbels was like the PR guy for the Nazi regime. He was like a PR guy. He came up with all the slogans and the advertising and the way the costumes should look and so on. All the frills and how to present it. He was a master at that. He was a master at that. And Goering did all this, and I'm watching as how he did it. He would do things like, one of the things they described is he would have Hitler fly into a place in an airplane on an airfield and then have the plane land and Hitler gets out. And then he gives his speech. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, I remember the shot of, I can't remember where it was, Arizona, where Air Force One pulls up on this tarmac with the crowds waiting for him. It had the same dramatic appeal. Wow. They were taking a lot of things out of Goebbels' pages, out of his book.
Oh, God. So
right?
Off a Nazi.
Right.
The idea of a Nazi.
Right. Just the way you perpetuate a lie constantly. And if you perpetuate a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. Okay? Yeah. It's called the big lie. And I watched this, and as I'm watching it, I'm thinking to myself, man, did we ever dodge a bullet here? Because if this guy had gotten reelected, we were in deep shit, just deep trouble, because he would have taken that as a sign to go all the way.
Yeah.
And he tried to hijack this democracy. I mean, it's so scary if you go back and watch what the Nazis did and then compare it to what Trump did. It's out of the same rule book. It's out of the same play. What do they call it in football? A playbook.
Yeah, big playbook.
Yeah. It's out of the same playbook. And I just went, oh, man, did we dodge a bullet.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we dodged it long enough, because I think eventually somebody else is going to come along, and he's going to do it better than Trump did it.
It's going to be somebody worse, But this guy learned from Marty Cohen, so that doesn't say it all. That guy was the Antichrist if you ever met him.
Yeah, and then there were some other people that learned from Marty Cohen, which is another problem.
Marty Cohen, too, yes.
Hello. One last thing. You're doing this on your iPhone.
Yep.
Right? What,
I think so.
What's happened with your computer? You've never gotten it working again?
We tried. My friend brought over some device that got us in that zip code to get the password, but it wouldn't let us on. So I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Well, you know what you do with the computer? You simply reformat it. You just lay everything in. All your old stuff is going to be gone.
Oh, I don't have any. Just
then they can take that machine and put in a new operating system, and you're good. Yeah. And you're good to go.
That'll cost me, but I ain't got the dough right now.
If I were there, I'd do it for you.
I wish you were here.
It's pretty simple. What have you got? Is it a Windows machine? Yeah, Windows machine?
I'll show you a picture of it.
I don't. I got to see a picture of a dead computer.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. Wait a minute. Okay. Now, okay. If anybody knows how to get into there without your password, let me know. Okay, because then I will let him know, and we'll make the attempt. But I think the worst. The one thing you could do is just erase the drive and then re-put on the operating system, and you're good to go.
I don't know how.
Is there anybody who's watching this show in Las Vegas who can go out to Pearl's place and get his machine going? I mean,
Come to Pearl's place.
You took it to a computer store and they couldn't do it?
I didn't take it anywhere. My friend who is I have a good friend, a comedian friend who just moved into the complex where I am. And he had some equipment, said, I can fix it. So he put the thing in and he did this, he did that, he did this. We almost got there, but no sale. So
yeah, but I mean, if you were to just reformat the disk, then install the operating system once again in there, it will then ask you what do you want as a password and so on and so forth, and then you got it working as a fresh new machine. Yeah. So, but I'm not there. I'm not there.
Come on over.
Huh?
You want to come over and not chop me into pieces? Come over and help.
Yeah, I'll get on a fucking airplane and come out there just to fix your goddamn machine. Risk COVID and spend a fortune on the plane.
Come on.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, but I mean, I could probably do it for you.
I bet you could. You know about that.
No, I mean, it's not. If all you want to do is get that machine working again, you don't care if you lose all the stuff that's on the machine.
I don't have anything saved. I just got emails and this.
Okay, all right. But if you don't have anything you want saved, then that whole thing can just be reformatted with the operating system.
It's a sledgehammer and some chocolate syrup.
Okay, if anybody's listening who lives in the greater Las Vegas area, or maybe if you live, you can live in Pahrump, you know, you can live in some of the outlying desert cities.
You live in Pahrump or Boulder City.
But we need you to go over to Stephen Pearl's place and fix his machine. So we don't have to see him kind of wobbling with the iPhone for the whole thing. See, like that. Look at him. He's nervous. He's shaking like a leaf.
Man, I've been up for 7 days, man. Remember the 80s? I don't know what to do. I'm sweating.
Yeah. Are you still able to lay your hands on drugs? Because I know that pot is your drug of choice, right?
Yeah, sure. There's a dispensary right around the corner.
Oh, okay. So it's right there. Do they deliver? Fine
place it is.
Huh?
Fine place it is.
Really?
There's a dispensary called Green. They're right around the corner from me.
Now, do you actually smoke pot now, or do you vape?
No, I smoke. I'm old-fashioned.
Yeah, I kind of like the vaping.
Vaping's fun. I'll take it any way I can.
The only thing is I have a hard time rolling those vapes. They just don't seem to...
Oh, yeah. I put some in the bowl, a couple of hits, I'm happy. I cough. Let's do a JoJo Gunn album. Who cares?
Okay, so you've just been staying home a lot getting stoned.
You got a problem with that? What else am I going to do?
Did you get a check from the government?
I'm waiting. I got like $2 in my account. Come on, Uncle Joe. You can do it.
Come on, Joe. Come on, Uncle Joe. You can do it.
Grandpa, you can do it.
Yeah.
I met Joe Biden the other week. It was a touching experience. But I got to tell you.
Thank you very much. Is that your only Biden joke?
That's the only one I got.
It's a touching experience. Hey, listen, I've got the worst backache today, so I'm going to call this. I'm going to call this to a close. We've gone way over.
Job over to fix you up.
And anybody who wants to fix Steve Pearl's machine, write us a letter, alex@gabnet.net, and tell us where he can get a hold of you, and then you can go out and fix it. But I don't think there is anybody in Nevada listening to
Probably
us.
not, but take all the green pieces of paper out of your daddy's wallet and send it to Stephen Pearl at 355. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Soupy Sales got in a lot of trouble for that.
Can't fire me. I have no job.
Ladies and gentlemen, there he is. That's Stephen Pearl. Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Alex. Oh, the earthquake's starting again.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
And that's our good friend Stephen Pearl, and he'll probably be back with us again next week. I talked about it at the end of this interview. I don't know what happened, but I woke up this morning, and I must have been sleeping wrong, okay, with the worst backache I've had in years. I mean, I don't get these kind of backaches, but I must have slept kind of wrong or something, and I just and it's just, I mean, I really have a hard time walking, getting up. If I get up from here, it takes me a while. I can't straighten myself out, and it's, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the show tonight, or as best as I can. If I feel that at some point I'm reaching a level of pain, then I'm going to quit it early, But if I'm just sitting here in this chair and I think I can survive it, anyway, let me take a couple of ibuprofen. But I don't know what happened. I was sleeping and I woke up and I just moved, changed my position, and I went, oh God. And I got up and it was just killing me. So I've tried everything. I put cold on it. I put heat on it. I've been taking ibuprofen. I've been taking aspirin. And I even took one of Marjorie's really strong pain pills. And it, at least it put me in la-la land. But I was in la-la land for most of the day. And it kind of helped a little bit. But, I mean, it's incredible. It's just unrelenting. So I don't know getting old, it just sucks. It just really, really sucks. Well, let me let everybody on here, and maybe they can do all the talking for me, okay, as we go over to our Zoom panel, as they are there we go. And here comes Charlie Wallace as well. We've got Robert Natali, we've got Alan, we've got Brian Neary, and we've got me with an incredible backache. By the way, write that one down, Robert, for tomorrow. This is our Sergeant of Arms is Robert Natali.
It's recording secretary.
Secretary.
Sergeant of Arms is a bouncer.
Yeah. Okay. You're recording secretary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I have in my hand here the minutes from last night's meeting.
Yeah. And so would you care to recite them now? And
certainly. This way I could get out of here if necessary. The show got off to a flying standstill with Phil Meyer. Why we have that guy on the show is beyond me. Because he absolutely is not a conservative. He's not a Republican. He's just a Trump acolyte. The preceding was an editorial and may not reflect the views of GabNet management.
It's not that I don't agree with you. I'll leave it at that. No, I just, I figure I think there's a place for Phil, and I figure that's on Tuesdays at 10:30. Right?
It's your show.
It's my show. Yeah, you're right about that. I'm glad you get that. Some people don't.
At any rate, Phil, of all the dribble, of all the things that he said, he did say one thing that was true.
Yeah.
And I quote, he said, "There's no accounting for stupid." I'll let you put your own joke in at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
We then went on to Alex complaining that he hasn't gotten his second shot, which is very annoying to those of us who haven't had their first shot yet. And I'm over it. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
I'll calm down now.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. There's some kind of thing coming back at us here. Hold on a second. Let me turn it down. Now let me bring it back up. Okay. Yes. Well, I'm sorry you haven't gotten your first shot. Have you tried?
Oh, and how?
Really?
Yes. We're listed, both my wife and I are listed in about 15 different places within a 75-mile radius.
Mm-hmm. And are you set up to go to one of those places?
We have no appointment, but every one of them tells us, stay tuned.
Oh, okay.
They all say the same thing. Anyway, Alex then went on to say that he would not be posting these shows any longer on Facebook or YouTube, and my wife would like to lodge an objection because she can't stay up that late at night, and it's the only way she gets to see her dashing, handsome, charming, witty. Oh, I'm sorry, that was written in the margin. Husband.
Yeah. I did post them last night anyway, but I may not tonight. I keep threatening this.
Yeah, you keep. Well, she's most upset about this.
Yeah.
At any rate.
Okay. Well, then I'll post them for her. How's that?
That's awful sweet of you, and she will appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work I have to go to.
We then went on to making cat puns, most of which were, wait for it, appalling. Appalling. No, seriously, I'm not kidding around. Oh, Jesus.
So we know what you've been doing all day.
Yeah, right? Yeah, no, this took 5 minutes. Trust
you know
me.
something? Some of those were perfect jokes.
Yeah, we made that one already. We then went on to the instrument of the week, played by Whatever. And what we decided was that Whatever should play solo. Solo, nobody can hear him. We then learned there are many of those, right? Play by the window so we can all help him out, Anyway, we then learned a bunch of stuff, and I started to fog out a little, so I may not have these in proper sequence. We learned that Alex can jerk off in 5 seconds. We learned that Alan can't get an erection.
Wait a minute. To begin with, that was a joke.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, this is what was stated.
I don't want people to think that I have an orgasm that fast.
All right, 7 or 8 seconds.
Okay, I'll go with that. Okay.
And we also learned that Ray's going to get parts, which I assume are for Kevin's new car.
Yeah, exactly.
Then Alex gave a lecture on French pussy at some point.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Yeah, meow, mew, meow.
No, on French pussy. Oh, I see. Okay. Fine. No, I was talking about the fact that in France, meow mix would be mew mix.
Yeah, right. That was the point at which I fogged out.
Well, wait a minute, but it's to show you that I have some worldly idea that other countries use different. You go to France, it's really interesting because they have a different word for everything.
Don't complain. You put him in charge.
Yeah, no,
I know. I made him the secretary, recording secretary.
We then went on to listening about, again, I kind of fogged out, so I got half the story of something about Kevin's false positive, but I wasn't upset because I knew he was too old to be pregnant, so I really didn't put much stock in it.
Kevin, you're not pregnant.
You're not pregnant, according to...
No. And then finally, we got Ray Renati's rendition of a song I'm sure we'll all hear plenty of on Valentine's Day, Pimples on My Tongue. Can I get a second, please?
Anybody want to second these?
I wouldn't if I were you.
These minutes? Anybody? Second them? Anybody? Anybody want to second them? Okay, yes, Alan? Do I have a second? Okay.
Let's move second.
Do I have a third? Do I have any thirds?
No.
Okay, do we have a fourth? Do we have a fourth? Anybody for a fourth? Did we go that far? You only have to do seconds, right?
Yeah, just a second, I think.
But write this down. Alex started out tonight by complaining about his aching back.
It's already down.
Or I remember that when I was in the Himalayas once, I met up with a Sherpa who said, "Oh, my baking yak."
Oh,
yeah.
Here we go. We're
Okay, yeah. Something was burning, and he said, "Oh, my baking yak." Okay. Oh, man. Have you ever had a bad backache, any of you guys? This is
last night.
every day.
Man, I don't know what I did. I must have slept upside down or something, you know? And
Did you sleep with the window open?
You know something? I think was the window open. It may have been because
If it was cold, that's what I did that last night.
And it killed your back?
Yep.
See, Marjorie likes the window open, even when it's -0 out there.
Yeah, that'll tighten you up real fast.
Marital discord. Okay, I got
Don't
it.
miss that at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Yes, Alan.
So going back to your before this show with Steven,
Yeah.
all he's got to do is get on his iPhone, I guess, and type in password reset for Windows. And there is software out there. You can download it from the internet, I guess, to a friend's computer or something. I have several computers, but you turn it into a thumb drive. You put the thumb drive in the machine.
Yeah. You're already 10 steps ahead of where Steve can go.
Yeah.
Never mind.
When you lost him at thumb drive, okay?
You lost them at type.
It's one of those little USB things that you plug in.
Yeah, well, I know what he knows about that. He was told about that from somebody, but he didn't know what it meant. You know, so I mean that's a problem.
I'm sorry, I came in late.
Yeah.
So I was just
Yeah. No, I mean if I were there, I would just take his machine, I would erase his hard drive, I would then reinstall the operating system and put in a new password, you know, and get him up.
How would you
running.
erase the hard drive if you can't get to it without a password?
Well, you can erase a hard drive.
You can get to it in safe mode, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you still need a password, don't you?
No.
To get to that?
No.
Okay.
There are a lot of different ways of getting in there. I mean, you know what you could do? I go down, buy him a hard drive, pull the old one, put a new one in, and we were good to go again. See?
Yep.
So whatever. I'd get him up and running.
It seemed important to you, so I thought.
No,
I'd bring it up.
it's only important to me is because and I have to talk to him on the iPhone, it's shaking because he's got to hold it, you know.
Yeah.
And the sound on it is kind of, you know, so. But
Yes.
if that's a official term I can use, you know.
I'm using my new work laptop tonight
Are you really?
with my Logitech camera, and it's really, really clear.
Yo, it looks very good.
And very loud.
Clean.
Yes, it's fine.
That's what I'm going to
Looks-
Logitech camera.
Looks great.
Which model did you
Oh,
get?
there we go. Now he's gonna do the
Now
thing.
it's got fancy schmancy.
Okay, getting fancy schmancy.
Look at this.
Oh, no,
Cadillac
no.
and everything.
Brian, what model Logitech did you get?
Oh, Logitech? I don't know. I won this at a car thingy. I don't know.
You wanted it a car thingy? That sounds
Yeah,
like something
there's a
Kevin
raffle.
would have gotten.
The raffle. It was a raffle prize. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just a Logitech little clip-on camera thing.
Oh.
Your
just got
camera
one
is
in
so
the mail.
clear we can see the half worm coming out of your apple.
See, the thing is, even the cheapest Logitech now is pretty damn good. You know, they're pretty
Yep.
clean. Though I'm using a $200 Logitech here. This is
I
like
just got one in the mail today.
this is a Brio that I have here.
Yeah, that didn't have real good ratings where I went.
Yeah,
so
well, Brio, when I bought it, was the best thing there was. You know,
I'm
I've had
still
it
on
for
my
about a couple of
laptop
years.
camera, so
Yeah.
I.
Yeah, it looks good. You
In
know,
the next day or two, I'll get the Logitech up and running.
you know, if I switched over to my other camera, which is here, which is a Logitech, I have two cameras here. You have a hard time telling the difference between the two, really. You know, but I mean, I'm very happy with. I've been happy with the Brio.
I listened to the Trump supporter on which Logitech to get.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Bill,
And which
He-
Logitech did he tell you to buy?
he's the C920. He's big into photography, so
Well, C920 is not the best. The Brio is actually the Brio is the best. There may be some people may say it's too expensive for how good it is.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
But I bought mine. I tell you how I bought mine. I bought mine cheaper than usual. I went to Best Buy. This was about a couple of years ago. Went to Best Buy and I looked it up on what do you call it? Amazon, and I found they were selling it for like $139. So I just went in and said, "See, $139." So they gave it to me for $139. So I got two of them pretty cheap. Now you can't find them anywhere for under like about $230, $240, something like that.
Yep.
But it's a 4K camera. So it's.
I don't need 4K.
You better watch it, Alan. He'll have you buying 60 terabyte, 15 drives and a rack
Yeah.
What
for your 10 pictures.
A RAID array.
I have a
Yeah,
RAID. I have a
RAID.
RAID over here.
I'm
use
sure
a
you
RAID.
do.
I save all these shows on it. You know why? Because with a RAID, I'll never lose the information. Because what happens is it takes about a third of the disk space and creates a backup, so that you constantly have something that if one of your drives goes out, you just throw a new drive in and it rebuilds everything while you can still use the array. And these are hard drives, folks. Yeah.
Or you can spend $59 and plug in an external hard drive and let it back up as you go too.
Yeah, well, that's good, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to go bad on you. If any of my drives here go bad, I still have all my information. And all I have to do is put a new drive in there, and then it rebuilds everything up, and
Same thing with a backup external drive.
No.
Yeah, but if you're running I don't want to get technical, but if you're running a database, an external drive won't be enough because
I'm not
RAID
running.
backs it up as it happens, so you can actually show a point in time.
Oh, I see.
What the database looked like at a specific point in time. I used to run one at work.
Yeah.
Okay, learn something new every day.
No, but RAIDs are a great way of making sure you don't lose your information ever. You could on a backup drive. That backup drive could go bad, and then you've lost everything.
Yeah, well, Phil has a RAID, and I think that because he's got 620 terabit of information, he needs the extra space.
Yeah, well, he doesn't need that much space. He has what I can't remember the kind of.
He has a lot of pictures that are taken in RAW, and RAW takes up a lot of megabits until you.
I got about 12 terabytes after we account for the space that's needed to do the redundancy. I have about 12 terabytes in here. So.
I don't know much about that stuff, just what he told me. So
yeah. And I told him he likes saving his pictures in RAW. He likes the word RAW.
Ooh.
Well, if you're gonna crop them and compress them, RAW is the way to go to start with. That much I know.
Well, yeah, it supposedly is the best way if you're Phil. But I mean, RAW. I mean, basically, I think just the old brownie with a negative was just fine so far as I'm concerned. I managed to back those up just by putting them in a drawer.
That's right.
Speaking of raw pictures, Larry Flint, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
My old boss.
Yeah.
My old boss, Larry Flint, died today. Or yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Had a heart
Was he
attack.
good?
He belongs in heaven as far as I'm concerned.
What'd you say?
He belongs in heaven as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, he did. I think time will show that he did a lot in his time for freedom of the press.
Absolutely.
But it's interesting. It's interesting because I always used to point him out as being a reluctant hero, because the reason he went out and defended freedom of speech is to protect his own ass. But what he did, even though he's protecting his own ass, and that was his motivation for doing it, he managed to make it better for other people. So fine. To me, I always had a lot of respect for him. Also because he used to sign a paycheck for me. So I can be bought.
I had a lot of respect for him too. My right hand also.
Yeah. But every month for about, I think, 7 years, something like that, I used to write a column for Hustler. and paid me $1
How
a
to
word.
get off in 5 to 8 seconds, I'll bet.
Well, no, my things were more political than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did I ever write about? I wrote about sex occasionally, but it wasn't required that we write about sex.
Oh, okay.
I did some pretty good writing there. I was very it was because Bruce David, who was the editor of Hustler at the time,
that was a good article.
was a good friend of mine, and he said to me, "Why don't you start writing for us?" And I said, "Yeah, but I'm not a writer." He said, "Just write like you talk." And that was enough for me, and I started writing, and I would do a column every month, and I think when I was finally finished after 7 years, I was a pretty good writer, I think it was Al Goldstein that taught me how to write by saying, write like you talk.
Yeah.
Just, you don't have to know how to write. You know how to talk. Now just put that on paper. And I did that, and it worked, so. But I really enjoyed those things I did. And so I used to always refer to him on the air as my boss, Larry Flynn, because he was one of my bosses, technically. Wait a minute, hold on a second. I got to move here. God damn it.
Yeah.
If she opens that window tonight, I'm going to kill her.
Well, try a couple of Tylenol with that.
I did Tylenol. I did 3 aspirin tonight and 3 ibuprofens just now, and none of them are really working that much. But then there's this OxyContin or whatever else she has. This little pill,
my!
that thing, and that works. What?
It's like killing a fly with a cannon.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, when your back is killing you like this, you want that cannon.
Absolutely.
So-
Narcotic.
Chiropractor would do it in no time.
And I kind of figure at my age, what I could use is a good heroin habit. Because I got nothing to lose. At my age, how long am I going to be a heroin addict, right? And if they say, well, it might kill you. Well, yeah. So?
I got bad news for you.
What?
If you're a heroin addict, usually narcotics will not let you get 5 to 8 second orgasms. As a matter of fact, when you're under the influence of narcotics, I'm not sure.
Are you writing this down, Robert?
I'm not sure how to write this down.
Narcotics.
I quit.
Erections.
I thought Alan had a serious point.
He did.
Well, actually, if I'm not mistaken, if you take heroin, you have a hard time taking a dump, right? A good dump? Because it binds you.
If you take enough of it, that's my
Yeah.
understanding too.
Are we going into territories you're enjoying here, Robert?
Sure. What the
Sure,
hell?
why not?
Oh, come on, Robert. You've taken the narcotic.
I never used cocaine, but one time I was at a party and they offered it to me. So I said, I don't really want it, but just let me see how it smells.
I never used cocaine. I turned it into a hobby.
Oh.
Yeah. There was a couple of years there where I could afford it. It was like Robin Williams said, cocaine is God's way of telling you you're making way too much money. But I didn't spend that much money on it. I used to cut it all the time so I wouldn't get too hooked on it. So whatever.
You can cut it with fiberglass, and you wonder why your nose is bleeding all the time.
Well, no, but I made a good a motorboat out of it.
Yeah, I was going to say your sinuses have curtains.
Yeah. It's funny. You know who else I used to work for?
No.
Technically, like I say, I worked for Larry Flint, but I used to work for Chris Kraft.
Boats.
Because Chris Kraft owned radio and television stations, and I worked for one of their television stations in San Francisco, Channel 44, Cable 12 on most systems. They had radios. They had TV stations. They finally sold them out. But the guy I worked for, the guy who was running the station, I think, was one of the sons of the guy who started Chris Kraft.
Wow.
Remember Chris? Do they still make Chris Craft at all?
Think so.
Yeah, they have a big show at Tahoe, Lake Tahoe every year.
Oh, really?
And they're
So
all the wooden Chris Craft boats, all those wooden boats, really beautiful. My friends go there.
they were wooden boats, weren't they? They were
Yeah,
beautiful.
very
wooden boats.
beautiful.
Do they still make them though? No.
I don't know, but they certainly restore them all the time.
Well, yeah, yeah.
So I know of one at the bottom of Lake Tahoe, along with a Cadillac and a trailer.
What? How did that happen?
A friend of mine had a Chris Craft, and it was
Oh,
he had a Cadillac and was backing it into the water on the ramp in Lake Tahoe. Funny you mentioned Lake Tahoe, and he had a little too much drugs or alcohol in his system,
Really?
and lost control. And the car and the trailer and the boat went into the water. The boat, I think they got out because it floated somehow, or I don't know.
yeah.
It's like 30 years ago, but the Cadillac they left.
John Larkin. I
Cadillac.
keep mixing.
Out of business in
I thought you were another street. Excuse me, in San Francisco.
Irving
John
Street.
Larkin. That's how I remember your name is Larkin Street.
Yeah, yeah. I used to work for Robert Redford.
Really?
Yeah,
A double?
No. I used to work at the Sundance Institute, the Sundance Film Festival thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I did that for about 15 years. Every year I'd go up there and work for them, you know.
Yeah.
For one time I was a driver. I'd pick up famous people at the airport,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was in the prints, driving the film prints to all the different theaters, you know, where
Mhm.
the festival was going on.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun.
Wow. He's still alive, isn't he? Yeah, Robert
Yeah.
Redford's still alive. I just don't think he's done much lately. I think usually at a certain point they slow down, you know, and they just go, I've had enough of that, you know.
Isn't Robert Redford dead?
No.
No,
Oh,
he was doing the Iron Man. Remember, he did a couple Iron Man, I think.
Yeah,
movies.
he's producing now.
Yeah.
He's
Paul
producing.
Newman's dead.
Paul Newman's
way
one.
dead, way dead. Yeah. And
But
then
his salad dressing stays alive.
yeah.
You know, yeah, I was in this standing in line at the grocery store one time, and there was like a little thing of Paul Newman mints, you know, and I asked the cashier.
Paul
she looked
Newman
like she was
mints?
like yeah, you know, little breath mints, you know.
Oh, really? They had
And
breast
I
milk. Okay.
I picked him up and I go to her. I go, you know who that is? She looks at it and she goes, no. Who is that guy? The mint guy. I go, you don't know who that is? And I just go, man, I'm getting old.
Oh no, you know, I mean, my friend Shecky.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll talk about, you know, people who are popular and not popular and so on. She says, you know, we think everybody knows who the fuck Paul Newman is.
I don't know.
That there's a whole generation doesn't even know who Paul Newman is and doesn't care who Paul Newman is. And to us, he was a legend. You know.
There's the old story.
The Hustler.
What?
The Hustler was a
Hustler.
good book.
Yeah, but what were you saying, Robert?
There's an old story from David Susskind who divorced his wife, and
Everybody know who David Susskind
David
is?
Susskind was a
Yeah.
producer and show host in New York City.
Right. He had a weekly show on PBS.
Yeah, excellent show, I
Yep.
thought. Anyway,
That's what I know him
he
from.
divorced his wife, and he started going out with a couple of women that were about 15 or 20 years younger.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing he noticed was that they couldn't keep a conversation. And his phrase was, I can't go out with someone who doesn't know who Errol Flynn is. You know, it just doesn't
Well, you know
work
what
for
mine
me.
was? Mine
And
was,
that
I
pretty
will
much
not go
sums
out
it
with
up.
a woman who can't name all four Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
right, exactly.
And usually, if I would
Black
put that
Beatles.
question to a woman, she could get most of them. But which one do you think they never got?
George.
You're right.
Yeah.
George was the one they never got. And if they didn't know who all four Beatles were, I wouldn't have sex with them unless they were hot.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah. I'm not falling for that one.
I
Yeah.
compromise my morality, you know.
Yeah, the one with the biggest.
So
tits.
Robert Redford and Paul Newman. Paul Newman was in Cool Hand Luke, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
And his best movie he ever
Also-
did was
He
HUD.
also had a racing team.
HUD,
too.
yeah.
First.
That film has one of my favorite movie lines of all time.
What's that?
What we have here is a failure to communicate.
Oh yeah. That was Cool Hand Luke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
well, Yeah. Anyway, so
You know what I just saw last weekend on TMC is The Sweet Smell of Success. You ever see that movie?
yes,
That's
yes,
a great
film,
fucking movie.
great film, great
Great.
film.
Great play.
Yeah, was it a play? It was a play before it was a movie.
Yes.
J.J. Hunsaker, right?
Yeah, you know he was based on. What was the guy who was based on? The dude from the columnist from the 40s, famous columnist.
I'm trying to remember who they were basing it on, but there were a lot of those gossip
Walter
columnists.
Winchell.
Walter
Walter
Winchell.
Winchell.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's Burt Lancaster as J.J. Hunsaker and Tony Curtis as, oh God, I'm trying to remember the name now.
Sidney Falco.
Sidney
Something like-
Falco. Yeah.
Yes. Falco.
And it's all about, kissing ass in New York City.
Yeah.
You know.
Power. It's all about power and the newspapers.
Yep.
It's all about gossip. The
Yep.
power of the gossip.
Well,
column.
but it's also about power. It's basically
Yeah.
a film about. It's a great film. If you've never seen it, everybody see it. You know, but then again, you're going to say who's Burt Lancaster and who's Tony Curtis. You know, I've got a great Tony Curtis story. I was with Al Goldstein, and we were having dinner at Wolfgang Puck's in L.A. And I had a date with me, some woman that I was wooing, and I figured I would kind of make her be more than acquiescent to me by me taking her to Wolfgang Puck's for dinner with Al Goldstein. And as we're there, Tony Curtis comes over from his table to go say hello to Al. Okay? And then he comes on to my date. Right? So cut to about 3 years later in San Francisco, I'm doing my show, and I've got Tony Curtis as a guest. I can't remember whether he was live or on the phone, but I think he was live. And I said to him, by the way, we've met before. And he said, where? I said, we met at Wolfgang Puck's. And I said, I wanted to take this up with you. You tried to pick up on my date. And he stopped for a moment and said, yeah, and if I had the chance, I'd do it again. That was Tony Curtis. That was a great movie. That was just a great movie. I always liked that movie. One of those gems that comes up on TMC, Turner Classic Movies, TCM, every now and then.
Yeah.
But anyway, so anybody watch the trial of the of the Washington Six or whatever that thing is that's going on? You watched it, right, Robert?
I did.
What's your takeaway from it today?
Well, if you listen to the presentation by the managers, it's hard to argue with their evidence. It really is.
Well, this is one of those things where you've got very material evidence, and everyone in that room is a witness.
Yeah. Which is what's wrong with the whole process to begin with, is that, it's not a legal action, it's a political one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they went through this whole thing. Okay, they were ushered downstairs. You saw the security camera footage, which was incredible. And they're all being hustled away, and they're happy to be hustled away and get away from that crowd. And then they're going back in, and they're going to vote in Trump's favor. How they can do that is beyond me. I do not understand it.
You know who's really on trial? It's the 50 Republican senators. That's who's really on trial.
By the way, here's a great topic for conversation, I think. How would the vote in the Senate go if it were done by secret ballot?
Oh, yeah, he'd be fucking totally, probably 90 senators.
I bet he would be convicted.
Oh, yeah,
I bet he would be too.
Because they want to get rid of the son of a bitch, but they can't say that out loud.
Of course.
Why don't they have a secret ballot? I mean, wouldn't that be
Well,
appropriate.
As Americans, you want a record of who voted what on what. So I get it from that standpoint, sort of sunshine law kind of idea. But in this case, there might be greater freedom to having a secret ballot where people can vote their conscience and the law as opposed to political expediency.
Charlie?
In a regular trial, you don't know which juror voted what unless it's a unanimous vote.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think he's going to
but they should have the balls to be able to do it.
Of course.
They should.
Well, what are they afraid of is what I don't understand. I mean, they're afraid of a guy who has absolutely no power left.
They're not afraid of him. They're afraid of the support.
The only argument that I've ever heard come from that side is they keep turning back to the summer. They keep turning back to the summer. They'll start with an answer, and every question I hear is they constantly turn back. Well, back in the summer or back in 2016, they all started stirring it up. Why don't the Democrats get in trouble? Why don't the Democrats get in trouble because they stirred up all the crap in 2016? Or why don't they, let's go back to the summertime when they were stirring it all up during the riots in the summertime. That's the only thing that they go back to.
Well, here's the thing.
Nothing else.
I mean, Phil did that.
It has nothing to do with
Phil
it.
did.
It is nothing. It doesn't even apply. It's bullshit.
Phil did that with me last night, and I said to him, "Don't even bring that up. That has nothing to do with this. That's a whataboutism. That is what about you didn't do anything about those guys in Seattle? A whole different set of circumstances, everything. This, wait, yes, Charlie. What were you going to say, Charlie? Charlie?
I said none of the Democrats were egging those demonstrators on or encouraging them to do any violence.
Exactly.
I took one law class in college, and the thing I came away with was the professor said the following. If you've got the facts on your side, you argue the facts. If you have the law on your side, you argue the law. If you have neither on your side, you jump up and down and pound the table.
And that's
effectively that's what the Republicans have left.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing about, you didn't say anything about it when Seattle, blah, blah, blah. Well, the whole different set of circumstances. And I could make a case that Trump even caused that riot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. Totally.
So I mean, because
certainly didn't stop him.
Well, what they do? They sent the feds in to try and put the thing down and cause more trouble. Seattle was not a noisy place. They were having some protests and things like that, but then the government went in there and stirred up the crap.
Yeah, but it took them how long to do that?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is to use that as an excuse for what the president did now. I mean,
he let the fire burn up there and then threw gasoline on it when it was starting to calm down.
Well, I think they made a very good case today showing that the president had done all these things up until now, leading up to now, to cause this to happen. That by the time he went out and gave his speech in front of that crowd, he had them all riled up for months and months and months with all these tweets about, I mean, he was yelling and screaming a fixed election before the last time he ran, he was claiming the same thing, and then he won.
What's funny is, and I was listening to Fox all day on the radio and Sirius, and because I was driving up and down the peninsula.
Yeah.
And I was listening to them all day, and all they did was sit there and complain. Oh, well, they didn't prove anything today. All they did was talk about what he did for the last 6 months. They didn't prove anything, so they've got no case. I'm going, what are you talking about? They proved that he, mouthed off for the last 6 months. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They were talking.
They didn't say anything about what he did to incite it.
They were they were making the case that what he was doing.
What are you listening to?
Is he was creating a toxic brew? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I said that for the.
What is that all about?
He was saying the same thing at each rally. The same thing.
Yeah.
He was pounding these people with the same shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, he got all these guys to get on an airplane and come out to see him on a certain day.
Yeah.
This is kind of like they were committed. Aren't
Good.
they?
Alan?
Guilty by reason of insanity.
Who's guilty by reason of insanity?
Trump.
There
Well,
is no such-
You know, you think he's going to use that defense? I doubt it.
I doubt it too because but he could.
Oh, I think there's no.
I don't think he can in that kind of a trial.
No, he
can he?
can't.
I
There's
think
no such thing.
Okay.
I think he's going to be prosecuted for this, criminally after this is over.
Georgia.
Georgia.
too. They're going to,
Yeah.
Georgia has begun an investigation to bring
Yeah.
charges forward.
Right.
absolutely.
Good.
Yes. Yes, Charlie.
Yeah, and there's a difference too in that the people in last summer were protesting something real. We all saw George Floyd killed before our eyes, so he really died.
Yep.
Trump is chewing up all of this anger and over a lie. The election wasn't stolen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That was all.
Well,
a
but you
lie.
may remember the last time he ran, the first time he ran, he was doing the same thing. You know,
Yep.
they're going to steal the election from me. It's going to be stolen. The election's going to be rigged. Blah 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 blah. But then when he won, all of a sudden, I guess it wasn't rigged anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Then it was, but I won the popular vote by 3 million votes that were, what was it? That somehow there was like
Well,
3 million illegal votes.
I
that
like
came over the board.
where in 2020 that, and a lot of the Republicans were saying that the media doesn't announce who's won. You know, the media said that Biden had 306 and Trump had 232. But in 2016, when he had 306, he announced himself the winner. They got to make up their mind.
Yeah.
It's one way or the other.
Well, you know, I mean, what he did here was create a very bad situation. And I'll tell you, I said the other night, I saw this documentary on Goebbels, and he was Hitler's PR guy, if you want to call him that for lack of a better name. He invented everything that's being used today in advertising and everything else. He invented the big lie. And the big lie is if you keep telling a lie enough times, it becomes the truth. Okay? Yep. I watched this whole documentary. A good example was there was a scene they showed where Hitler's plane had a small plane that landed at an airport, and people were waiting at the airport for Hitler to give a speech. And what they would do is they would send this airplane around, and it would impress people because air travel was new and so on. And it was so new that that when somebody flew like that, it was impressive. And they impressed people by him coming in and landing at the airport and then getting off the airplane and giving the speech and then getting back on the plane and taking off. And everybody got very impressed. And all of a sudden, I remembered Arizona here in this last election, and Air Force One pulling up down the tarmac of this airport where all these people were waiting to see him give a speech for the same reason. That theater.
Georgia.
Right?
Same thing.
Same thing in Georgia.
Pulled the plane up behind him, and he was there, and the plane was
And when I
behind him.
watched what Goebbels did and how he finessed Hitler into power, okay, all I could think of was, man, we dodged a bullet this time. Because if this guy had gotten reelected, it would be Germany all over again.
It would have been deeper and deeper. You know, I fought that whole theory. You know, no, not Hitler. But the more I studied and looked at this guy and followed him around and looked at documentaries and compared him to Hitler and spoke to my mother-in-law who actually went through all that, I was convinced that this guy was on that path. He was on that path, and he's still lurking.
I am absolutely sure that he watched Hitler's way of operating, his way of doing public relations, the whole thing. The sense of theater.
He used that same theory.
Yeah.
He used that same theory in business, and you knew that because that's how he did his business, and he figured he's probably going to just take that right into politics.
I agree.
That was
with
obvious the way he did that. It's the art of the deal.
Yeah,
but it don't work in politics.
But I mean,
There was
he did
many
some
checks and balances, and
Yeah.
luckily for us, it was.
But watching this stuff of Hitler, and then I watched all the other documentaries too. There was one there about Goebbels and another one about Speer, Albert Speer, who was designed all the buildings and everything. And I looked at it and I went, you know, it's like it's. I'd like to say it was deja vu, but this is deja vu now, hearkening back to that.
Yes,
you know.
it is.
And I'm not
Because
saying this,
much
folks,
of
because I'm anti-Trump. I'm saying this because we dodged a bullet. We were getting ready to do another Hitler's Germany, okay? And he wanted the same outcome, you know.
Yeah, there's a documentary running on I think it's Netflix on the highlights of the World War, and you see how he did that, how he worked his empire, and it's scary.
And also down to getting a group of people to make a scapegoat out of the Mexicans in this particular case. In Germany, it was the Jews. Although what Hitler did was he because Germany after World War II was very broke, and everybody in Germany was very, very broke, and they blamed the Jews because the Jews had a lot of money and were controlling the money. And they used the only reason they made the Jews the enemy was they wanted what they had. In other words, they could make all the Jews look bad, and then they could go in and take all the money, all the property, all the clothing, all the jewelry, all of that, and that's what financed Germany during World War II. It was financed by Jewish wealth.
They did it to Austria. They walked right in there, and they all said, "Oh, he's just so great." Just
Now,
right
the only place Trump was stupid was the Mexicans don't have anything. Yes, John.
There was a lot of American corporations that financed Hitler too, though, before World War II.
Oh yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
A lot of the big ones, like some of them are still around, and you know.
Well, I'll tell you. Want me to give you a good example?
Yeah.
Do you know how they kept track of all the people in the concentration camps?
No, how?
IBM punch cards.
Yeah.
IBM.
Yep.
Okay.
You ever heard of Pete's Coffee and Teas?
Yeah.
Well, that was a private company that was started in Berkeley, but they sold out to this conglomeration. And then I just read in the newspaper a couple months ago, the family that owns the corporation that owns
it's a German conglomerate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a German, but the people that run the company are like the descendants of the people that originally owned the company back in World War II, and they used Jewish slave labor back in during World War II.
Right.
So every time you go to Pete's, now you ask them, hey, you guys know?
Okay, I'll be there in a second.
Tell them, hey, you guys know who owns you?
Coors Beer, Adolf Coors.
Yeah, of course.
Was friends with Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, sure.
Well, a lot of the I'll tell you, a lot of the beer companies got very frightened during World War II because they were all German companies, Pabst, and so on, and they were afraid of the backlash about being German that it was going to cause. Budweiser, yeah.
Henry Ford. How about Henry Ford?
Henry Ford wasn't German.
He was a fascist, though. He's
a fascist. Absolutely, he was an big anti-Semitic.
Ford Motor Company.
He had a newspaper out of Flint, Michigan, right, Robert? If I remember correctly.
I believe so.
Flint, Michigan, which was the most fascist newspaper in America and anti-Semitic to the core.
My favorite Hitler supporter that nobody knows about is Lindbergh.
Oh, yes.
A great American hero. He turned out to be a scumbag when all was said and done.
Well, did you see
this? We should stop all the airplanes.
Did you see the series they did on HBO, which was based on a book? I can't remember by who. Philip Roth. And it's about Lindbergh actually being a fascist and running for president, becoming president, and America becomes a fascist country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that a series now?
Yeah. No, Lindbergh was an absolute asshole. Okay.
He was,
yeah.
How about J.P. Morgan? Was he a Hitler person?
No.
He was a banker that had connections. Yeah, he did.
I know.
Lent the money.
I know he did a lot of business with Germany.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody did business with Germany at one time or another before the war. It's a question of who was supporting them during the war.
Yeah.
And when you think that Jews went to the gas chambers because they could keep tabs on where each and every one of them were because they used IBM punch cards, you begin to question IBM. And don't ever bring that up to IBM. They don't want to hear about it, you know?
Going back to Lindbergh, if I may, 2 quick points. Number one, the kidnapping took place about 2 miles from where I'm sitting right now.
By the way, a German guy.
Well,
maybe.
I've read. This is one of my all-time favorite topics: is the Lindbergh kidnapping, and I've come to believe that Lindbergh was in on it because his son wasn't Aryan enough.
Wow.
Really?
And there's a lot of literature and a lot of things that point Lindbergh's way.
Wow.
What about the cheese? The Lindbergher cheese.
No. That's a different.
Limbaugh. That's Limbaugh.
That's a Limbaugh cheese. Yeah, Limbaugh cheese.
Okay.
That's
Thanks,
Rush Limbaugh.
Which, by the way, another couple of months and he's going to be cheese. So what the hell?
Yay.
How come I look over at this chat and Tyson's...
Tucker
wait a
Carlson
minute,
say
hold on
he
a
wants to
second.
run
I
for
just looked
president?
at the chat. Anybody looking at our chat? Tyson's
Yeah, I'm looking
Acosta
back.
is the only guy on there talking to himself.
He's repeating it over and over.
The guy, he's just talking to himself. Bruno Hauptmann, Coors family.
Yeah.
Hauptmann.
He's been
I think
drinking
he's
too much
answering
beer.
Questions that we're bringing up.
Yeah. Limburg's
the
kid
guy-
was
the
developmentally disabled. Was he? He wasn't that old, was he?
No.
No.
I thought he was a baby, yeah.
Yeah, he was a baby at
He was an infant, wasn't he?
It's called the Limburg baby.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Robert, how do you know that he was kidnapped from your neighborhood?
Well, because it took place in Hopewell Junction, which is 2 miles from here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's where the Lindbergh home was.
Now the question is, who was the head of the state police at the time?
Schwarzkopf.
That's right, Schwarzkopf's father.
That's right.
Schwarzkopf's father.
Norman
Oh my
Schwarzkopf's
gosh.
father.
Yeah.
Stormin' Norman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where was J. Edgar Hoover? Wasn't he in on it? Or?
No.
No.
Nope.
No, but
before his time.
Schwarzkopf's father was one of the people who railroaded Hauptmann into the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There is question as to whether Hauptmann was the guy.
Oh, he didn't do it.
You know.
Really, if you get into reading about the case, it'll get under your skin. It'll be
They've tried to go back
like it is
though.
for me.
They've tried to go back in retrospect and try and look at the case again and see if Hauptmann is innocent, and they have yet to be able to prove him innocent. Though that's the problem.
He's dead. It doesn't matter.
Well, it does matter so far as history is concerned. I think history should never be allowed to be put to rest if there's a question about it.
I'll agree. History's important.
Yeah, and in this particular case, I mean, it would be nice to know what really went on there.
At most, I think Hauptmann was in on an extortion plot to try to capitalize on the kidnapping, but I don't think he was involved.
Yeah, didn't actually kidnap him. Where did they find the baby? Do you remember?
On the highway, actually, not far, about 10 miles from the home. And the funny thing was, another oddity, if you like conspiracy stories, the infant that was found was a solid foot longer than the Lindbergh baby should have been.
Wow.
It was charred beyond recognition, and they just simply said, this must be the kid, and that was that. And you got to remember, there was a lot of anti-German sentiment at that time. So the fact that they could try to pin it on a German immigrant was, perfect.
Yeah. Wow. How many here listening to us know who Lindbergh was?
Not all. Yeah.
Personally, no.
Yeah,
A friend of mine.
Yeah, somebody with a big balloon.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk to kids today and I said Lindbergh, I don't think they know who I was talking about.
What did Lindbergh have to do? I don't know this with San Diego, because San Diego's airport is called Lindbergh Field.
Well, I mean, he was a aeronautic hero.
A hero, that's all.
Yeah, and so they were naming stuff after him all over the place.
That's all right. They'll change the name of that pretty soon anyway.
Yeah,
You would hope so.
yeah. Oh well.
Trump Airport? No.
Yeah, do we still have? Do we have? Where's John Wayne Airport, or did they change the name of that?
Orange County.
Did they change the name of it back?
I don't think so.
Didn't somebody want to change the name of that back to something? You know, and we've got the George Bush Airport in Houston, right? Am I right about that? Yeah.
They're going to change the San Francisco airport to Harvey Milk Airport, I think.
Really? What is it now?
Just San Francisco General.
Oh, okay. So name it after somebody. Harvey Milk's fine.
Which one? Which one, John?
San Francisco International.
I thought that was Zuckerberg now.
No, that's the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a Zuckerberg hospital, right?
What is national? Isn't that Reagan?
Yeah,
national in
Washington D.C. Yeah, that's Reagan.
There's Dulles and Reagan. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so Zuckerberg how did he get his name on that hospital? Did he buy the naming rights?
Paid a bunch of money, yeah.
Money.
It was like
$150 million to
billion
build a new hospital.
Outrageous amount of money.
Yeah, because
people are all pissed off about it too.
His wife works there. His wife's a pediatrician or something. Chan, Asian lady.
Yeah. Well, if he put some kind of money into the hospital, I guess, why not? If he's helping the hospital.
It was pretty bad dump. I used to go there all the time.
It was a dump. But
I used to live right down the street from there in Potrero Hill.
Yeah.
It was a nice apartment.
It's right on the
hospital.
Ray Renati's been really quiet tonight, just showing us pictures of hamsters. That's all.
Well, they're gerbils. You were talking about gerbils, so
right.
I thought I would just
gerbils.
Well,
Yes.
Wait, when were we talking about gerbils?
That was Goebbels.
That was
Goebbels.
Goebbels.
I was confused.
Gerbils.
That'll be
Who's
tomorrow's Bennett's.
Gerbils were not
that goes in the
responsible for
minutes.
the Gerbils were not responsible for the Holocaust.
That's right.
I thought you said they were.
No.
No. No, Ray.
I went to Bellarmine. Come on.
What?
I went to Bellarmine. I know
Oh
these
God,
things.
you did?
Bellarmine Bells.
Yes, Charlie.
I almost went to Sarah.
Oh, jeez.
I flunked,
What's his name?
I flunked the test on purpose.
Charlie?
Adolf Hitler tried a coup and failed.
Eh,
Adolf Hitler tried a coup in 1924 and failed.
Yep.
Germany was very lenient with him.
Yeah, he went to
Guess
jail.
what happened later?
He went to jail, and while in
But we
jail,
can't be lenient with Trump.
And he wrote a terrible book.
a terrible book called Mein Kampf.
That's the book that Trump was going after.
Yeah.
That's the only book he ever read, probably.
Right.
Well, no, there was a book he plagiarized.
Yeah.
You know? Oh boy, let's lay off Trump. Let's just let him lie.
not.
Jeez, I'm so. Aren't you sick of hearing about him, Robert?
No, I mean, in the sense that I want to see him get his just desserts. No, I'll never be.
Oh,
I'll
you'd
never
like to
be
see him
sick of
twist.
that.
I think we'd all like to see him twist in the wind.
Yeah.
No question about that.
Orange jumpsuit.
I would.
Huh? Yeah. And Jeff's a nice guy. He doesn't like to get even at all with anybody except Donald Trump, right, Jeff?
Trump is a good handicap to get rid of somebody.
Yeah. Well, I think, you see, here's what I think. I think his penalty should be that he has to ride for a coach everywhere, so that he has to put up with people in the seat next to him going, "Oh, aren't you Donald Trump?" And then just lay into him constantly.
How about he said the Mexicans were going to build the wall. They could build the wall around the prison he's in.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's correct.
Yes.
I quite frankly, I'm betting that he doesn't live that long. I think without power, it's going to just.
He's still got power.
Huh?
He still has power, unfortunately. He has money. Not the power he had.
What kind money? He doesn't have a penny.
Money's not power.
We don't know that.
Well, except that people keep sending him money.
That's right.
Raised over $200 million on that.
Yep.
phony
He's the
election
biggest.
was
He's the biggest welfare case in America.
Yeah.
People keep sending him money and taking care of him money-wise and so on. Never has to pay for it.
He's the most popular lawyer in the world.
Yeah, very popular liar. What happened to Ray? He disappeared.
I think he's been eaten.
By the gerbils, by the giant gerbils.
Going to put his gerbils on the barbecue.
His lawyers are going to ask for to dismiss the trial based on the fact that they're not going to get paid by him.
Yeah, right. Right.
I wonder if they worked a deal with him. Yeah. How much are we going to get paid, Mr. Trump?
Well,
he's not going to pay those guys.
If he's not going to pay these lawyers, they're getting paid exactly what they're worth.
Yeah, exactly.
Because these are the worst lawyers I've ever seen. And I said this last night to Phil, and he didn't know it. I said that these lawyers were terrible. He says, no, they weren't. I said, well, Trump thinks so. And he wasn't aware that Trump had come out and said, these guys are doing a terrible job defending me.
And like I said, I was listening to Laura what's her name on Fox just before I come home tonight.
Yeah,
and she was grilling David Schoen on an interview, and he was just fumbling left and right, and she was just tearing into him. It was hilarious.
Now Schoen is what? He's one of Trump's lawyers, right?
Yeah, he's the little short guy that likes to tap his head when he drinks.
Yeah.
Water.
Right.
You know, that's a Jewish religious thing. I think.
Oh, he's blessing himself.
It's
He's supposed to have a harmonica when he drinks.
A harmonica?
That's what I thought. I thought maybe his yarmulke was falling off.
I played a harmonica.
Boy, you are the ultimate Gentile, John. A harmonica?
Yarmulke, I said, man.
Yarmulke, yeah.
Yarmulke. Yenter it up.
However, you're real Gentile, you call it a Yamulka. Yeah.
Yeah, she was trying to get out of him what kind of videos and what kind of crap they were going to come up with tomorrow, and he's going, well, you'll just have to see what we got coming up. And she's going, well, you should be telling us what it is. Well, I'm not gonna break that loose tonight.
I think what they're going to do is they're going to show some nutty squirrel cartoons. Is what they're going to do.
Yeah,
some gerbils.
Yeah. I mean, it is just. If these people would just not make their minds up and listen to the evidence and vote on the evidence, they'd find him guilty. But they're not going to do that. Yeah. They've made up their minds already. We're going to.
Well, and that's what's bad is we can't see what they're doing. And I know that during that first day, there was reports of these guys sitting there reading papers.
Oh, they had pictures they had pictures of Rand Paul just making doodles on a piece of paper,
yeah.
and Ted Cruz was like, I don't know, reading a newspaper or something.
Yeah,
they weren't
ridiculous.
Watching
how can
the videos.
You do that?
Today, Hawley was sitting in the balcony with his feet on the chair in front of him.
Really?
I mean, that just requires a smack.
It does.
Really.
Well, I mean, have a little respect for the have
a respect for the fucking house anyway.
Have a respect for the process. For the process. And listen to what's going on, and then make a considered decision based on what you heard.
So is that a rule that the Democrats agreed to with the Republicans? That's a bunch of bullshit. That's another one of the Democrats' rules that I think was stupid.
Yep.
Which was
why do they let them do that? Bring the cameras in and show everybody. If you want to come through it, open it up.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I don't understand sometimes what the Democrats are doing. It just
the reason there's no cameras in there is because C-SPAN they're using C-SPAN's cameras.
Yeah, I know, and that's
that's two GoPros. Is what they are. C-SPAN's cameras. Hey, listen, there's our little theme. Not a little theme. It's a big theme, actually. But I got my money's worth out of it. So, God, my back is it's going to be hell when I get up out of this chair after being stuck in it for 2 hours.
Take another Vicodin, you'll be fine.
I'm certainly going to. I do have Vicodin. Why don't I take that? I have some Vicodin in the house.
Better living through narcotics is what
That's right. Anyway, listen, we got to go. Thank you very much, Brian, for being here tonight. Robert, thanks for the minutes. Thank you, Alan, for joining us tonight. Very nice job. Nice job, Charlie. Good job, Jeff. Kevin, that car's cool. And of course, John Larkin, thank you. And wherever Ray Renati went, he just left us with his goddamn gerbils, and that's it. Anyway, everybody, give a big wave goodbye, and we'll give him a big wave goodbye at you. Okay, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the citizen panel for tonight. Another one will be getting together just moments from now with Jack Bishop. He's going to be here with The Intersection. He's going to be taking your calls on Skype. The address for on Skype to call him is Gabnet Live, all one word, Gabnet Live. In the meantime, we're getting out of here. We'll be back again tomorrow night. Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. And be safe out there. Wear a mask. Night.